Our body and our mind are extensions of our true essence, our spirit self, the universe itself. And somewhere along the way, as a collective, we forgot who we were. We began to separate ourselves from the knowing that our body and our mind are just extensions of our spirit. So ultimately, they are all one. What would happen if we operate every day, or as much as we can each day, from the space that we are one with the universe? That our body, that our mind, that our spirit are all one. What would happen? Imagine what would have happened if we were taught this over and over again as children. Well, we get to do that for ourselves now, and we get to change the pattern. So the first foundation to upgrading the body and mind is to relieve the body and mind of any stress-causing contributors that might be weighing the body and mind down. So some examples of things that weigh us down are usually self-judgment, self-critiquing, critiquing of others, engaging in habits that make us feel not so good, like watching the news, gossiping, having unhealthy addictions, promoting fear or buying into fear, superstitions, traditions, things that have been passed down historically, generationally, ancestrally. So sometimes, because our environment has felt so dense, because so many of us as empaths came in very high functioning, very sensitive and aware of everything going on, and we can hear words beyond words and feel things beyond what most people can feel. What happens is the environment, if it's not feeling safe, if it's feeling dense and heavy, tends to weigh us down, and we eventually start to numb ourselves with things like judgment, critiquing, watching the news, engaging in habits that are not of the highest and best for us. Because we've numbed ourselves for so long, many of us have, it can be almost odd to not have some form of stress that is weighing us down. So what would happen in your life if you allowed yourself to recognize stress, but no longer attach yourself to it? So if you see it happening, you allow it to move through if it needs to, but you don't need to make it yours. You don't need to hold on to it. What would life look like? Would you travel more lightly? Would you have more joy? Would you be more buoyant? Just be with that for a moment. What would life look like if you could acknowledge and see stress for what it is without needing to identify and make it yours? What would happen? One of the things that helps, especially when there's a lot of stress, is to really come to the awareness that you are not stress. Stress is a learned behavior. It's a type of response to an environment. So when you start to recognize stress is not who you are, whenever you are stressed, ask yourself, in this moment, who am I outside of this experience of stress? Am I the sun? Am I the universe? Am I the ocean? Am I one with everything? And just contemplate on who you are, even if it's just for 30 seconds. Taking a little mind break, creating a disruption in the brain waves so that you can remind those primal aspects of the mind who you truly are. This is going to help your body and your mind start to rejuvenate, re-energize you, and bring you back to who you are. So whenever you're stressed, who am I outside of this stress that's happening, that's showing up? And that's it. Just contemplate on that. You may get the answer right away, you may not. But just asking that question is going to start disrupting those primal loops that you may have been stuck on to help you step into your creator self. and to help your body and mind start to heal. Good. Just go ahead and place your left hand on your stomach, just a little bit above the belly, and just take a deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, just feel yourself relaxing into the chair, just letting those burdens go. Good. Let's take another deep breath in. And release. Good. And one more. And release. Good. So that was the first foundation. The first foundation to upgrading the body is about lightening our load, those things that we may have consciously or unconsciously been allowing to weigh us down. So the second foundation to upgrading the body and mind is to nourish them. The way we nourish the body and mind is through acts of self-love, self-care, pampering ourselves, and through food. Today, we will nourish our body by sending it healing, acknowledgement, love, and gratitude. So let's begin by showing the mind and the body what self-care, what self-love, what that looks like, what that feels like. The purpose of food is to heal us, to support, to nourish our body and mind so that they can function at their highest and best. The purpose of self-love and self-care are the exact same. So when we are eating, when we are pampering ourselves, when we are being kind and generous with ourselves, we are creating the space for our body and mind to fully function at their highest and best. But what happened was, especially in Western societies, for so long, people have been taught or conditioned to not take care of themselves, to not love themselves and make themselves and their well-being a priority. And they did that in many ways, including through eating processed foods and things that were putting stress on their emotional, physical, mental bodies. Specifically, when it comes to the body and mind, our body and mind are always speaking to us. So if you wake up feeling groggy, if you're feeling there's a lot of inflammation in your body is telling you that there are some contributors that are taking place. Usually, more often than not, it's food related that are weighing you down. So what would happen if we started to see food as our best friend rather than something that we just eat to survive? What if we see taking care of ourselves, loving ourselves, making our well-being a priority? What if we see that as something that is going to enhance our experience of life instead of a chore that's going to make us feel like we have to do something outside of our comfort zone? What would happen? So what would happen if you ate food that was nourishing to your body? And we're not talking about boring food. We're talking about organic, healthy foods that are able to nourish you. Chocolate has one of the most healing properties. It's just the kind of chocolate that you're getting. And that is going to make a huge difference. And that's you loving yourself when you take that step just to understand and embrace that maybe coconut sugar can have a much easier way of being processed in the body instead of cane sugar or refined sugar. So just being in that awareness alone is you starting to show up for yourself and love yourself and nourish yourself. Release some of those stress causing factors that are weighing your body and mind down.